I, Dr. Lynn Vet. This is Fly Nubian Money. Welcome, 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 welcome. Today, we're going to be discussing a topic that many Black women struggle with, and that is finding balance between your career ambition and motherhood. We're asking the question, is it really possible, right? We'll be examining a powerful video by Dr. Traci Lynn, who is a fashion and jewelry mogul that built a $100 million empire from scratch. She opens up about her journey of trying to save the world, building a brand, leaving a legacy, all while grappling with the challenges of being a mother and a wife. And so Dr. Traci Lynn, she shares her belief that there's no such thing as balance and that instead the focus should be on being fully present in whatever role you're playing at the moment. Joining me today are my beautiful co-queens. We have Constance, we have Dr. Alicia, and we have a new queen of the day today, who is Moya. And I'm actually going to go back and say these and actually give titles. So you guys know Constance Carter is a wealth activist. Dr. Alicia is a social work professor and psychotherapist. And Moya Smith, who's joining us today, she is a tax professional. I'm Dr. Vet. I am a business coach and monetization strategist. And so welcome queens, welcome everybody that's just joining us for Fly Nubian Money on today. We're going to go ahead and go to the video so that everybody can see it. That way we can all be on the same page before we get into this discussion. So go ahead and go to that video for us, please. And then we'll see you guys.
I always ask Sid, how am I doing as a mother? I mean, I'm out here saving the world, one jewelry piece at a time. And there are times I feel is that I put so much more into other people and not enough into him. I did make sure every week we went to a movie, we went out, we ate, we did things, and we would communicate. He doesn't always like to go because it's a no phone zone. And all he wants to do is be in the phone. You can't be in the phone if you're going to be out with me. It's a daily thing. And it's funny, now that he's older, when I thought it would be easier, it's getting a little harder.
Man, truer words have never been spoken. Constance, what were your thoughts around what Dr. Traci mentioned with career and family? Is it a myth to be able to balance the two?
It is. I live by the moniker that balance is a myth, but harmony is a must.
That's what I say, harmony.
Harmony. You got to have harmony in your home. I got 4 children and I was that woman. I traveled extensively up until, I moved. I traveled extensively. I was the breadwinner. I was speaking all over the place. I was building this massively powerful business. I had 100 people working for me. I was doing all of these things while raising a family. Fortunate for me, my husband at the time was a stay-at-home father. So he was the one that was able to go and take the kids to school, pick them up. We didn't have to hire an outside person or, I had my parents that were around that would help out, when he would go with me. But extremely important in having that harmony. And I think for me is I was always very communicative with my kids. And I said, hey, I'm going here, I'm doing this. Are you okay with it? And, my kids would be like, Mommy, we know you're doing it for us. So as long as I expressed that to them, they were good with it because they knew that my purpose, that they were my why. They never questioned my love or my loyalty. And I was very clear about that. And I just think you just have to have that communication.
I love that. I always say harmony because if you think about what balance is, balance means something is equal. And do you really want to have equal work life, equal life? I don't want to be at work equally as much as I live my life. I don't want balance. So I always say it should be harmonious. Sometimes something's going to get more, sometimes it's going to get less. There should be harmony. There should be an ebb and flow. Moya, how do you personally define balance in your life between career and family?
Well, I really want to build off what Constance was saying, because what I do is I let my kids, because I have 3 kids, so I let them know the purpose of why I'm doing what I'm doing. And so when we talk about how do I define balance, I make sure that they're okay. So really building off this whole harmony thing in the sense of, are they okay with what I'm doing? And sometimes they've actually said no. Sometimes they've said, oh, but Mommy, how come you have to go again? How come you're working late? And so we just have to have that discussion with them so they understand and they're included in why I'm doing what I'm doing.
I like that. Dr. Alicia, social work, professor, psychotherapist, these things take time to happen. There's school, there's education, there's dissertation, there's writing, there's clients, there's all of these things. There's a husband, there's kids, right? What are some of the biggest challenges that you faced in trying to manage both your career ambitions and motherhood?
Yeah, I mean, some of the challenges that I face, I think is echoed with everybody. I mean, even Dr. Traci, she gave like excellent advice on how, and insightful advice on how to stay connected. It's not the length of time that you spend with your children, it's the quality of that time. So carving out time where there's no distractions of the phones, it plays a critical role in really developing healthy and well-adjusted children. So I incorporate that into my life. Every single day, I can't give my kids all my time because that's not healthy, right? But I can say, listen, put your phones down. Let's sit and have a conversation every single day, just so that I can tune in to what's happening with them. So I really love that part. And I love what Constance was referring to. She had a support system. So that's so important, is to like ask for help. I think Black women in general, we just absorb everything that's going on in the family. And we feel like we are lacking in some way because we say we can't do it. So I think what Constance is saying, listen, I had a husband who was helping and supporting me. And for people who don't have a husband, it's okay to reach out and say, I need you guys to kind of get what's going on in my life. You get it. And so I need you to help. And so those are the things that I incorporate in my own life and that I encourage all of us to incorporate. It's okay to say, we need help.
Asking for help is a big thing, even when you're stressing. So I'm gonna go to you guys in the chat. I see the comment from MC Fact. He said, "Where's the dad husband? Where's the dad husband for the woman in the video?" And Dr. Traci is married, but I guess you have to see what part of her life. So she was married. I think she's since been divorced. And I think she's remarried now. I don't know the specifics of the when, why, where, why, how. We don't know that. But I think it can be. Actually, let me ask this question. First of all, chat. Are you struggling with work-life balance? And or do you think that work-life balance is a myth and you operate more from the harmonious perspective? So that's for you guys in the chat. Give me some feedback. Tell me what you think. I'm going to kind of play around with MC Fact's question, which is, where's the dad husband? Do dads struggle with work-life balance? What do y'all think? Do y'all think dads have the same? Are dads having the same conversation? Oh my God, I don't know how to make it all work. The house and the kids and the husband. Do dads have these same conversations? What do you think, Constance said?
No, they're not. Because you got, my mind goes first to people, especially like in entertainment. You know, if you have a singer, she's out on the road. When she has a baby, she got to get off the road. If a man has a baby, he's still on the road, you know, in sports. So we're the primary caregivers. Men really don't have to think about that. They have their woman that has to think about how she has to make adjustments to her life in order to make sure that the house is harmonious. So I don't think men are having these same conversations.
Okay. Anybody else want to add to that before we go to the slide? Everybody in agreement?
Well, I do think it depends, because like, oddly enough for me, if I'm using the question that was posed about the husband dad. So when we were married, my ex-husband and I actually had way less balance, just because I was forced to play the wife role. And as they're saying, like, that's a whole other role. And so whatever he's doing automatically takes precedence, no matter what I'm doing. And so once we were able to divorce and separate and we had clear boundaries, then everything was able to work a lot more harmoniously because I could plan better and then I can execute better.
I like that. All right, cool.
Yeah, I want to chime in because, you know, that is the reality of what's happening with families. And one thing I will say is that I think it's getting better. I think husbands are starting to really step up and are starting to become a really active role. I mean, right now we're in the midst of back to school chaos, the whirlwind of getting all these documents together. I mean, the schools, registering your child for school is more than just filling out a piece of paper. They want dental records. They want all of these things. And so it is so important for husbands to be sensitive to what moms are going through, especially working moms. And they're doing a lot better with stepping up. Modern fathers are doing a lot better nowadays with stepping up. And we applaud you guys and we thank you. Keep up the good work.
I wish I had that. Let me tell you, I got one in high school. I got to get him to school. I got one that just went to college. I just dropped him off. I got one get ready to move to his first apartment in college. I got to go and move him into, it's like, But I'm built for it. I'm built for it. This is what it is. This is life.
So let me ask. I'm going to ask the chat. Everybody who's on, this is not a men versus women. I'm just curious. Okay. So if you are listening and you are by your phone and you can leave a note, I want you to do it. This is a legit question. As an individual, if you have kids, do you feel that you are giving your household, your family, your household, your significant other, the appropriate time that they need compared to work? So yes, I'm showing up in my home in a way that I want to, and I feel like I'm being diligent and this is good. Or nah, I'm giving this work way too much energy and effort. I wish I had more time and energy to give to my family. Let's go ahead and go to the slide relative to Black women specifically. Black woman burnout. Black professional women are more likely to experience burnout than any other group. They're often expected to do a lot in their personal and work lives, which takes its toll on them in many ways, including burnout. Black professional women are also more likely to suffer from anxiety and depression. Okay, according to the American Psychological Association, 60% of working parents feel stressed about balancing work and family responsibilities. Have any of you guys ever experienced that? And I think the reality is, if you are a mom that works, you have experienced that. Moya, you said you have 3 children. Can you talk about how you deal with that? How do you balance dealing with not being able to balance work life?
So I think it depends, and I think like Dr. Reframing it as well. It depends also on the age of the kids and how much they want your attention. And I think Dr. Lynn in her video was alluding to that as well. Like, so when my kids were really little, then yeah, it was a whole process. But so for example, for me, I do taxes.
I can't. You're not, Moya. You're not coming through clearly. Your screen is kind of stopped, and I can't hear all of your voice clearly. Try it one more time.
Can you hear me better now? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's a little bit spotty. You might want to go out and come back in real quick.
Yeah, let me do that.
Perfect. I'll throw it to either you, Constance, or Dr. Alicia. Which one of you? Either one of you guys can. If you've dealt with that situation, how have you been able to manage that? No one's been able to manage. They're like, Mom, no. So, because it's not easy.
What was the question?
So the question is, how have you been able to balance the ability to, and or the thought process behind not having work-life balance? So you have a family, you have kids, they have needs, and you're trying to balance being here for them and doing this thing. What does that look like?
No, I think as women, we just go. We just make shit happen. We just do it. Like we do things without thought. We just do. And I think that's women across the board, no matter what race we are, I think we just do it. Women make things happen. We multiply, you give us a house, we make a home. You give us some sperm, we make a baby. You give us some piece of bacon, we'll make a whole meal. That's just what we do. And I think we do it without thought, but that's also like that maternal instinct that kicks in. I remember when I was young, my cousin had a baby. She's a couple years older than me. She was like 18, I was 16. And I was like, oh my God, she just knows how to take care of the baby. How does that work? She was like, I don't know. It just happens. And then when I had my first child, I was rough. I used to beat up kids. I used to wrestle kids and stuff. So I was not maternal. And when I had my baby, I was like, it just happens, right? And I think that's what happens when we're in these situations. We're just thrown into it, and God just gifts us with this ability to just make it happen.
Oh, this is so great. And I think I want to, along with back to school stuff, I also want to highlight, we just went through a big pandemic. And one thing, a silver lining in the pandemic is that we had these revelations during the pandemic that, listen, I don't really need to go physically to work and get my work done and then come home. So I think, the thing is that women and mothers are now asking for flexibility in their workplace, right? They're saying, I don't want to have long commutes. I want to be home for my children when they come home from school so that I can talk to them. So this is allowing more flexibility and allowing also more quality family time and the opportunity to engage in after school activities. This is a shift, I think, that underscores like the real importance of being adaptable to our work environments, highlighting the potential for remote work. I talk to a lot of moms now who's like, oh, I'm only going to apply for jobs that's going to allow me to stay home so that I can balance this a little better. And companies are saying, okay, they're starting to understand like the struggles. So I think the pandemic brought so many different challenges, but I think it's really paved the way for a balanced approach to work and family life for a lot of moms.
I like that. I like that. That's Dr. Moya. Thank you for coming back with us. This is Fly Nubian Money. You can join us every Monday through Friday, or every day, I should say, Monday through Friday at 1:00 p.m. Eastern. If you want to get notified when we are live, you can text the word Queens to 87948. Again, that's 87948. You can text the word Queens. You can also find us on Spotify if you do not catch us here. Today we're talking about how to handle work and family life without chasing the myth of balance. We have identified that balance is not real. Harmony, flexibility, ebb and flow is really what we're looking for. And we are basing this off of a conversation that was online that Dr. Traci Lynn had, where she was talking, and Dr. Traci Lynn is a jewelry mogul who has a $100 million empire. And she was just talking about what it was like to create a $100 million empire, the sacrifices that you have to make, especially around your kids. One of the things that she was talking about in that video was when she is taking the time to spend the time investing with her child, like it's that time, it's one-on-one. And I would say that, and then we showed the statistic about burnout. I would say that when I was building my business, it wasn't so much burnout that I was experiencing as much as guilt of putting all this time, energy, and effort into my business, into other people's lives, encouraging, empowering, building them up, helping them to build it, to grow and do these great things, and then missing basketball or missing the different things that my son has going on while I'm investing in all these other people. It does play with you a little bit mentally, not so much from a space of burnout, I would say. Like that statistic says 60%, what did they say? 60% of working parents feel stressed about balancing work and family responsibilities. I believe that. I believe that we do feel stressed. But I don't necessarily think that you get burnt out from it. I think it's stress. I think it's guilt. And then when you do get that energy and time to be with them, it's like my all attention, all eyes, all everything. You got it right here, right now. I'm going to give it to you. Can we put up the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health? They found that work-life conflict leads to higher stress and mental health issues, right? So you're doing all these things, you're showing up, you're trying to balance it. It's not quite balancing, which leads to higher stress and mental health issues. Dr. Alicia, how can people cope with these challenges, and what strategies have you tried or have worked for you?
Yeah, I mean, well, one thing is to recognize when it's happening. And I talked about how moms need to know that asking for help is not a weakness, but it really is a profound strength to recognize you can't do it all by yourself and you're going to make mistakes. It's built in. You're going to be like, oops, I forgot the form, or oops, I didn't do these things, and not be hard on yourself for that and say, what is wrong with me? I can't get this together, and then looking at everybody else who looks like they have it together and they really don't. I really think that I don't know. It would be lovely for there to be some avenue for like support groups, for like, platforms that could be supportive to moms to say it's okay. I mean, I have seen some things on social media that's been really proactive and like, just acknowledging all of the struggles that people have. But I think that we just need to collaborate, have more openness. Just a way in which moms can just support each other and having some conversations about how normal it is to have this struggle and this conflict, and that it's no one way to navigate this sort of complicated landscape. So many of us as parents operate in isolation. We need to talk to people and talk to parents. And I mean, I just recommend people just reaching out to ways in which we all can kind of support each other and recognize it's difficult. That's my child right now texting me at school about some form that I need to get for geometry. So here we go, live and in person. I get texts from my kids all day long. Are you really in school? We're doing work? I don't know.
Sorry, somebody just muted me. I want to go to you guys in the chat. What do you do, and or how do you give your family, child, or husband, because it's work-life balance, not so it's family, it's your significant other, it's your children, it's everything outside of work. What do you do to give that time value? How do you show up in that space? Is it vacations? Is it trips? Is it date night? What are you doing to make sure that your family gets what they need from you when trying to balance or have harmony? Moya, what do you do? Are you there?
So can you, okay.
Yeah.
So
What do
one
you
of the
do?
things,
Go ahead.
so one of the things that I do is I attempt to like every day go out for a walk around my neighborhood, and I'll listen to like an audiobook, and that way it really helps me.
Awesome. What about you, Candace? Constance.
Everybody call me Candace. Don't even worry about it. So when my kids were little, we used to do like 5 to 10 vacations a year. Whether it was something semi-local, got the RV, we would take it up to Reno or Tahoe, or we would just do a trip maybe to Jamaica or something like that. So we were very intentional about that. We would go to museums, we would go to the redwoods, we would go to the beach. So we're very intentional about that. Sometimes when I traveled, I would send for the entire family to come. Like I'm in Florida and I send for the entire family to come out. And while I'm speaking at a conference, they're at Disney World. So I would try to make sure that we had those moments. And also, village is awesome. So my mom and them, my daddy and them, my stepmom and them, my parents, I call it because my parents are best friends. So my mom and dad and his wife, I call them my mom and dad, my mom and my stepmom, sister wives. But anyway, they were a great village because they all would take care of my kids. So I'll be telling my mama, Mom, me and him, we about to go on vacation tomorrow. She'd be like, who gonna take care of the kids? I'm like, I don't know. And so y'all figure it out. Oh man, okay, I'm gonna call you daddy. And then, so that was so cool. Like I'm so blessed because they were retired. Now that, and I'm grateful I had that as a primary foundation when they were younger. Now it's just kind of on me. I moved across the country. It's me and the kids, but they're grown. And trying to manage all that now. I'm just trying to get some time in. I'm just saying, hey, can you just give me 5 minutes of your time, please? They're like, lady, go away. We don't want you. We want to play the game. So that's sort of where we are now. But I just tried to make sure we had those moments. And it's not perfect, of course, but very, very intentional about making sure we did have those special moments.
That part is right. And I don't mean to scare anybody out there, but if you don't get those pieces in early while your kids like you and they have the time for you,
Yes.
you become little people that are grown, they got their own schedules, they got their own places to be. They ain't trying to kick it with you. They trying to be out here doing all the things. I'll see you later. I'll call you back. It's been 2 days. You ain't called me back. What you doing? Where you at? I talk to you every day. No, you don't. You text me every day. That's not the same. How are you? But when they were little, you can shake that little kid off the leg.
In the bathroom, their hands be under the door. Like, I can't get a break. They all be off me like little monkeys and little puppies.
That's the truth. Okay, so let's reset. Can we run that video back again? We're going to do a quick reset. Today, we're talking about how to handle work and family life without chasing the balance of myth. We are going over, or we're actually discussing a video that Dr. Traci Lynn had posted, and we're kind of just dissecting it and talking about it. So we're going to run that again really quickly, and then we'll come back if you guys are ready.
I always ask Sid, how am I doing as a mother? I mean, I'm out here saving the world, one jewelry piece at a time. And there are times I feel is that I put so much more into other people and not enough into him. I did make sure every week we went to a movie, we went out, we ate, we did things, and we would communicate. He doesn't always like to go because it's a no phone zone, and all he wants to do is be in the phone. You can't be in the phone if you're going to be out with me. It's a daily thing, and it's funny, now that he's older, when I thought it would be easier, it's getting a little harder.
So even she even came back and said, you think it's going to be easier when they get older, but it's not. It's harder because they're older. So you just got to hope and pray that you put all the good things into them that you're supposed to. This is Fly Nubian Money. You can catch us live Monday through Friday at 1:00 p.m. here. You can also catch us on Spotify if you go over there and you search Fly Nubian Money. But if you don't do either one of those things, if you text the word Queens, QUEENS, to 87948, you can get all of the notifications that will let you know when we are live and what we're doing. You can also go to flynubianmoney.com if you want to get any free tools and resources around wealth. So I said all that and then forgot the whole comment I was about to make. So in that clip, I wanted to just reiterate who she is, because when you hear that, you're like, okay, well, what does she do? Well, let's talk about it. She's a fashion and jewelry mogul who built a $100 million empire from scratch. Constance, having built a multiple $1 million business, you know what it takes, the sacrifice that it takes to build a business like that. I have to ask you this question. At any time during that time, did you suffer from any mother's guilt?
Of course. And that's why I have those conversations with the kids. And I'd be like, Mom, and that's why they were like, no, Mom, we know you're doing it for us. And so just making sure that they understood. There's some things that like I would always make sure that they did to know that I loved and cared for them. And it's funny because I'm in a town called Ocean City in Maryland at a business conference I'll be going to tonight, but I got my daughter with me, and she did today at breakfast one of the things that we used to always do when they were growing up. So I would get everybody in a room and I would tell everybody, I would have everyone tell everyone what they loved about each other. Right. So, my from the youngest to the oldest, you go around, the 6 of us, you go around and say what you love about each person. And today she was just like, tell me one thing you love about us, each of your kids, and one thing that you don't like. And I said, well, I can tell you one thing I love about you and one thing that I think you should improve on. And so we did that. But we always have those kind of conversations in there too. So they knew. And I remember my oldest son, I have a picture of the picture I have on my phone is him. He has this little tear and he goes, wow, I knew my dad loved me, but I didn't know he loved me this much. And it was beautiful because, sometimes it's hard for males to express themselves, but having those moments where you kind of have to force that out, then they really see what you really mean to them. And so those things all the time, that communication, you guys, even if I had no money, even if we went nowhere, that communication that you have with your kids is paramount. Go outside and throw a ball with them. I'm outside throwing a football with them or throwing a baseball with them, so it's that, trying to get in before the sun go down and doing things with them like that. It didn't always work though. I'm telling you. So I don't want to make it seem like I was the perfect mother. It didn't always work. And sometimes I would be at home at work until 10 o'clock at night. And my oldest son would call me, mom, can you come home? And I'm, oh shoot. Okay. Let me pack up and get my ass home. My son wants me. So, or my kids need me. So, but the way you can influence that positive reinforcement is by being intentional about the things you do and don't get so wrapped up. I was just having a conversation, I'm gonna finish, with my friend, and she was saying how her health is fading because of her job. And I said, girl, you die tomorrow. That, y'all know they replacing you in 2 days. So you got to do what's important and the people who are important to you, make sure they know and they're a priority. Because if you die, then who wins?
That's a good word right there. I think that's very true. The quality of the time that we are present is what we have to focus on, because we got to create the legacy. We got to have the money. We're literally out here doing this to give you a better quality of life. And it's unfortunate that we have to take a small bit of the quality of life away from you in order to set you up to be in a good place going forward. Dr. Traci Lynn advocated for being present rather than striving for balance. How can focusing on presence improve both personal and professional lives, Moya. What do you think about that?
So, one of the things that I think is important when you're being present is to just listen, because so many times, especially if you're ambitious, you're thinking so many thoughts in your head, even when you're physically there. So, sometimes I'll have to remember little things like, okay, pause, smile, like, they just came in the room and they just asked me a question. So, be attentive to what it is that they're saying. So, that's really what I do to make sure that I'm always attempting to be very present with them, because I don't want them to feel as if they don't matter, even when I'm physically there.
That's good. So Forbes did a survey that showed that 70% of working mothers prioritize quality time with their children over actually achieving the balance. Dr. Alicia, what can we do to redefine success to align with this type of an approach?
Yeah, I want to thank you for pointing toward me. I want to talk about, like, even what Maya was just saying. I mean, to give your child this important to say, I'm sorry, I'm in a meeting. I got to step away from this meeting to deal with something with my child, or to just protecting that time that you've carved out to spend with your children. That demonstrates to your children that they matter above and beyond everything else. And what that does is that it sends such a powerful message that they are important and valued. And this attention allows children to kind of internalize this sense of worthiness and security, and it reinforces their self-esteem. Fast forward, when they get older and they're in a relationship with another person, if they feel good about themselves, then it's going to play a part in building healthy connections when they grow up. So it's so important to do that piece, because so many people feel like because they were not in a position where they felt heard and understood with whatever their issues are. They felt like they did not have anybody that they can go to when they were having a tough day at school. They internalize that to say, if my thoughts and my feelings aren't important, then I am not important. And so when they're in a relationship with somebody and they have a legitimate complaint about that person, they bury it deep down inside and they don't express it. And then they don't cope with it well. And so no one can read your mind. You have to be able to talk about what's going on with you. And if you weren't raised in an environment that encouraged you to talk about your feelings and thoughts, how are you going to do it in a relationship? You're just going to be plucked in a relationship, especially these boys, plucked in a relationship with a woman who's going to be like, tell me how you feel. What do you think about that? And if your parents didn't cultivate an atmosphere where you felt comfortable expressing yourself and talking about how you feel, you're never going to be able to do it in a relationship. Like, it's not fair for us to expect all of this all of a sudden as an adult. It starts as a seed when you're a child.
Yes, I think that the balancing act of just first coming to grips with what does success look like for you, right? Because everybody's version is different. Working a 10-hour day and coming home and being able to cook dinner, that's somebody's success. Somebody else's success is, although I have to work a 10-hour day, I get to wake up, put my kids on the bus, kiss them on the head, make them breakfast, but their dad is going to be there to put them to sleep at night. But so everybody's version of what success looks like, how you create harmony for it, how you deal with it. My man, my husband, my whomever is, or nanny, whoever is here with the kids from this time to this time, but I got them on the weekends and I only focus with them. Like, you get to determine what success looks like for you. Let's go to some of the comments that were actually created on that video. I think we have slides of those comments that were created on that video. Okay, there goes one. So this young lady says, wow, society often puts unrealistic expectations on us to balance everything seamlessly, but your focus on being fully present in each role is so refreshing. This is such a powerful message. And there was one more after it, that mommy guilt is a real thing. What? Oh, Constance gone. Okay, I'm like, wait, well, something happened. What? Going forward, as mothers, as women, what would you say we can do to balance or have harmony? We're only talking about work and life, but self should be in there, right? There's work, there's life, family, kids, husband, and there should be self in there. What are you doing and how do you take time to love on and appreciate you, Moya?
I do want to take a moment to say what Dr. Alicia was saying, and then also going back into the comments, is that I think it's important also that we reframe what this harmony is, because what you were saying, Dr. Alicia, is so crucial. Because is it really about spending 8 hours with them, but you guys are all watching TV? Like, is that the balance that you're looking for? Or is it in those critical moments that you can truly be present and pour into them? So therefore, when they do become adults, like, isn't that our real job as a parent, is to say, I've raised a solid human being and now they can go on and be great? And so I think if we reframe what mommy guilt looks like, or reframe what it looks like to be, as you were saying, Dr. Lene, to be successful in terms of, in those crucial and critical moments, can I stop and give my kid and make sure that they have what they need? And so I think that that's so crucial to how we can reframe this conversation, to know that we're showing up effectively. Because I feel like if you are, then you won't have mommy guilt. You won't feel like, oh my God, like, I just think it's important to do that. And so I just loved what you were saying there, Dr. Alicia. I think that's so important.
Awesome, awesome. So let's go to the chat for a little bit. Let's see what y'all say. Let's see what y'all been talking about, what y'all think about this conversation. I'm going to go up a little bit. Let's start with Sienna DuBois Smith at 10:12 a.m. So it says, I for sure am. My challenge is leveling up in career goals without losing the balance for my sons. So she was acknowledging that she is dealing with and or struggling with that balance. I need to do better in my career because I want to make more money. I want to give my kids a better quality of life. But in doing so, I don't want to lose that balance with my sons. And that is a real thing that we have to deal with. But I think it goes back to kind of like what we were all saying, which is you have to know why you're doing it. You have to know what you're doing it for. What is the alternatives? To stay home, love on them, be with them, can't pay the bills and can't do nothing, can't enjoy them. So it's like, it's a catch-22. MC Fact says, respectfully, it's not just about women at 10:17. The dad should also be playing a significant role in raising the family. We have done a very good job of talking about moms and kids. Where does the man, it doesn't have to be the dad, let's just say the man, significant other, father, or husband, where does he come into this role? We'll start with you, Alicia, and then I'm going to come over to you, Constance, too.
Yeah, I mean, I think fathers are modeling to their children about how to love a woman, right? So, I mean, it's important to just demonstrate that, to say, oh, your mom's had a hard day today. She's taken a nap. She's had a 10-hour day. I'm going to take you to the park so that we can give our mom some rest. I mean, this is so wonderful. And I think it's okay for mom to take the rest. I think after a 10-hour work day, you need some time by yourself. And as mothers and fathers, these are powerful examples of demonstrating good boundaries to your children. You're modeling for your children self-care. You're modeling for them the lesson of creating boundaries and fostering healthy family dynamics by showing your children that your needs matter too. So I think for a lot of moms, if children can see mom saying, hey, I need a time to relax a little bit. Just give me a few minutes to decompress. I've had a hard day today, and then I'll be attainable to you in a little bit. That's wonderful communication. I mean, this approach, I think, if anything, it nurtures like emotional intelligence and resilience kind of in children. So I think equipping them by modeling them with the skills to navigate these relationships will be very helpful when they grow up.
All right, what about you, Constance? Why do I keep on calling you Candace today? I know your name for
Everybody
years.
call me Candace, though. It don't matter. But I don't know what the question. It was about what the dad's responsibility is.
Yeah, like how does so what role has and or can the father the dad, ex-husband, husband play in this balancing act?
Yeah, so when I was married, I can say that, the father was definitely very present. But I think the moment that for me, the moment that he moved out of the house is it just came all on me. So I don't know how to make somebody be a parent if they don't want to be a parent, or they're not trying to be a parent, because a parent is more than just the lip service. It's actually what you do. But I want to go back to that mommy guilt, because as I was sitting here thinking about that, there are times, y'all, I've missed first days of school. I've missed my baby's first birthday, and this is an effort of being so ambitious, right? I've had to leave out on the 4th of July to go to fly to a conference to speak. That's also my son's birthday. So I've had to do all of those things and make those sacrifices. And I think back about it, and back then it was very hard for me. But one thing that I was very, very clear about is, if mommy only has 25% of time, I'm gonna give y'all 100% of that 25%. That's being present. That's being intentional. That's making sure that there's eye contact. That's making sure that I love you. And when my daughter, because when she asked me that question today at breakfast, and she said, well, let me tell you what I love about you. And she said, what'd you say, Kai? I love how you put love into everything. I love how you love us. And I love how you love other people. And I love how you want the best for us and other people. And so being intentional about expressing, and the only reason why she knows is because I say it, but also I show it, right? So that's the only thing I could do. You only have 24 hours in a day. We got the same 24 hours as Beyonce. She's been able to do a lot with her 24 hours. So we can do a lot in that 24 hours, but we can only do so much. And the rest is just kind of, you just got to give it to God and let him do the increase. But it's the effort, I think, and the intention that we have to make sure that we do, and then and ask God to bless the rest.
So yes, Beyonce has the same 24 hours, but she also has the resources to buy somebody else's hours.
That part too.
You know what I could do if I could buy somebody else's hours? I could have multiple 24s. I could my nanny. I could have you gonna make my food. You gonna watch my kids. You gonna run my bath. You're gonna go ahead and do my laundry. All I'm gonna do is show up and work. I just gotta do all the single ladies. All the single ladies. That's all I'm gonna do. Go ahead, Moya.
But I do, because I love it, especially when we say we have the same 24 hours as Beyonce. It makes me think, though, it's still the same battle, though, right? In the sense of, how do I show up for my kids in a way that we have a connection? And so off of what the comment was saying, I think it's important for you, whoever you are, is to have whatever is important to you. So for me, homework time is important to me. Like, now that school's back in session, I want to know what do you do for homework? How are classes going? Like, tell me about this issue that you're having with homework. So that's my thing. Like, I know you were saying something about sending the kids off to school in the morning, like just having whatever is important to you and being able to lock in on that. So that way you can feel accomplished in that one area, even if you're always busy.
So I'll tell my truth. I wanted to wait until we got to this point before I tell my truth. So when I started my business, it was me. Me and my son's father are amazing. Like, we are the best of friends. He is one of my closest friends. We just are not together. We knew early. I knew early on this was not the man I wanted to be for the rest of my life. And he was okay with it, right? One day we were sitting around. He was like, we're engaged? Like, you want to get married? I said, yes. He was like, do you love me? I said, yes. He said, are you in love with me? And I said, no. And he's like, well, why are we getting married? I don't want to marry you if you're not in love with me. And I was like, well, we can do this thing for 18 years. And he was like, no, I don't want to marry you for 18 years. Like, I was like, I just know right now, I'm not seeing it. And so we parted ways. We've managed to be like the best of friends to this day, the best of friends. And so some of that is with what I'm about to tell you right now. When I started my business, I moved out of my house. And I was like, I need every tool, every resource, every dollar that I can have. I left my full-time job with $50,000 out of my 401k, went through that way quick and fast. And I'm like, I don't want to get a job. I have to be able to make this thing work. And so I'm willing to get rid of everything to do it. But I didn't want my son to suffer. I don't want him to go without because I'm making this choice. So I called his dad. I was like, hey, can he come kick it with you for the next year or so? And his dad was like, cool. So this is getting back to your question, MC. In fact, how do you balance these things? You ask for help. Hey, I need help. I can't do it right now. I can't take care of him and do this. Can he come to you? He said, cool, but I got some stuff going on. I said, I don't care. I'll send you some money every month. So I sent my son to his dad while I started my business, and I sent his dad $300 a month to make sure that my son's quality of life did not suffer while I did what I was doing. We did that for like a year and a half or so. My son was getting ready to go to high school. His dad was like, okay, cool. I want him to stay here with me. He was in Atlanta at that time. And I was like, absolutely not. He's about to go to high school. I need him to be with me for high school. And he was like, no, he's doing good. He should stay here. And I was like, nah, I'm not feeling that. What I will do is I will move to Atlanta so that we can do it together. So I packed up, I moved to Atlanta. My son came back and stayed at my house, but we live around the corner so that we can co-parent and we can both be involved with my son's life while I work. So now I moved to Atlanta. His dad is there. We are both co-parenting. I'm running my business. So there were sacrifices that had to be made. I was able to do it with this man. To MC Fact's point, he's not my husband. He's my son's father, but he supported me. He had my back. He made sure that I had the support that I needed, the resource that I needed, the connections that I needed. When I got to Atlanta, he introduced me to his own folks, his own people. He was advocating for me, bringing me clients, doing all the things. So a man and or men and or the father and or the dad can support. And there are ways that he can support so that you can have harmony, so that you can show up for your kids, so that you can build a business. Some of it does come back to asking for help, because as women, we have a hard time asking for help. If you are a woman in the chat right now, you don't even got to say amen or hallelujah. Just raise your hand and say, ooh, that's me. I have a hard time asking for help, especially if it's the daddy. Right? Especially if he did you wrong or we ain't about to go ask you to help us. Luckily, that wasn't my situation. But it can be difficult to ask for help. It don't have to be the dad or the ex-husband. It could be your sister. Maybe you don't want her to know that you're struggling and having financial problems. It could be a cousin. We have got to get to a place where we're okay with asking for help, because the people who really love us and want to see us win, they're waiting for us to ask for help. Dr. Alicia, how are you with asking for help?
I'm really good at asking for help, but I will tell you that people who've had a background in trauma have a very difficult time asking for help. They're really good at helping others, but when it comes to them asking for help, it's a tough thing. And I've worked with a lot of people on getting them out of that, right? Trying to get them into a place where they can ask for help, because I think when you have a history of being let down, when you have a history of relying on somebody to help you and they drop the ball and it just falls on you, you are very nervous and it's very stressful to ask for help. It's easier to just do it on your own and not have to rely on someone. Think about it. If you have a need, having that need and looking at someone who could potentially fulfill that need causes a lot of stress for people, because it's like, ooh, I don't feel comfortable being vulnerable enough to ask for help. So suppose you are courageous and you ask for help. Then there's 10 times more worry, because you're like, is this person really going to do it? So a lot of people who are used to being let down can say, are you really going to do it? Are you really going to do it? It gets to the point where the worry is so much that you just, is that person really going to come through for you? Are you really going to pick them up at 3:00, like you say, or am I going to be sitting here waiting and then things are going to be more stressful on the other end? It's like, it's trying to find the people in your life that you can count on, that can count on you, that you feel comfortable enough relying on these people. And so many of us who have a background in past painful memories, very traumatic situations in their life, they are extremely uncomfortable asking people for help, because in their mind, it's associated with being disappointed. It's associated with being let down. It's associated with being just angry toward the people who were supposed to come be there for you and come through for you, and they did not.
Okay, Constance, what about you? How are you with asking for help? And it could be today versus like before, but how are you with asking for help?
I asked for help. I don't have no problems. And I got it. Remember I told you my parents were a great support. I had staff that if I wasn't available, we weren't available. Staff picked the kids up. So yeah, no, I don't have those issues. I don't have no pride when it comes to asking for help at all.
What about you, Moya?
I'm the opposite of Constance. I don't ask for help a lot as much as I need to. Like versus me asking, like I'll pay someone to go and do it. So I make sure, as Dr. Leach was saying, so it's done because I don't feel comfortable.
So I have a reason why I think, because I can only speak, I'm speaking for myself, right? When you are a high performer, like I am, I'm also a Virgo, so I'm a perfectionist. I'm also the person that people come to. I'm also the person where people lay their problems down at. So I'm always delivering and showing up for other people. There's this mental thing that happens when you now need help. You don't necessarily feel like you can go and ask these people for help because they're coming to you asking for help. So now it's like, who do I turn to ask for help? Who can help me? Because I'm the person that the people come to for help. And so I think that that's one of the problems and issues that high performers, I'm only speaking specifically for high performers, have. It's not to say that other people can't have these problems, but that's the issue that I know that I have when it comes to asking for help, because now I'm worried about someone using it against me. People who they think you have it all together. They think that you're balancing it well. They think that you're doing all the money and you're flying around and speaking and you got the PA. They think that this life is this pretty bow. That's what they think. So when you have a moment of vulnerability, like, oh my God, this is hard. I didn't meet my sales goal this month. I didn't, whatever the case might be, and stuff is not right. And you go and say, hey, can you help me? Or, hey, can I get some assistance? No, I thought you had it all together. I never said that. I never said I had it all together. I know. So what Dr. Lisa was talking about is true. That rejection, that people using it against you, that has been an issue that I have struggled with for a really long time when it came to asking for help, which is why I know a lot of people, I have a lot of acquaintances, but I have a really small circle of people who I would say are my friends, or people who I would say I can turn to and ask for help, who's not going to then hang it over my head and be like, oh, remember that time I helped you? So I think we have to get out of that kind of a mindset and turn to people who want to see us win. It might not be your significant other. It should be your significant other. It should be husband. But if it's not, like Constance said, your parents, your mother, your father, your grandparents, your nieces, your nephews, your aunts, your cousins. We have to realize that we have a much broader ecosystem of people that can help us. Like Moya said, pay for it if you need help. Like find a way to get the help so that you don't have burnout, so that you don't have to worry about balance, and so that you can have harmony. All right.
Can I say this?
Yes.
I'm extremely clear about my limitations. And I think that takes a lot of pressure off of me because I know that I'm not perfect. And I think that also it's evident in how I show up when in my businesses and in my coaching. I know my strengths and I learned that very early on. And so I focus on those. So that's why I know how to ask for help, is because I know that I'm not strong in everything. So even when I coach people, I know first thing I say is, I don't know everything, but the things I know them very, very, very well. So the things that I leverage other people, whether it's paying people or whether it's bringing people in. And so once we're clear about what our strengths are and what our limitations are, I think it takes the pressure off of us to want to be that perfect person. Always have to save and rescue everybody, because I ain't her. But I know I'm not perfect. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. I don't got a PhD like y'all. I got my PhD. Y'all know what my PhD is. It's not the same as the two of you's. So that's kind of what helps me to, be able to not get so wound up in that idea of not asking for help or not being perfect,
I have found in my later years that people are waiting to help. People are like, I've been waiting for you to call me. Like they standing by like, oh, you need something? What can I do? Or people who actually offer, let me know if you need something. And then you actually follow up like, hey, I do need something. What can I do for you? Like we mentally think that we have to take it on and do it all ourselves, and we don't have to. There are people who are waiting to help you to have harmony in your life so that you don't burn out, so that you can be ambitious in your career, so that you can reach your goals. This is Fly Nubian Money. Today, we're talking about how to handle work and family life without chasing the balance of myth. We've been talking about a video that Dr. Traci Lynn did, who has built a $100 million jewelry empire. So we've been kind of talking about that. And so before we close out, I'm going to go around the room and just kind of get the last thoughts of each queen, and also close with where people can find you. Moya, we'll start with you.
One of the things that I think that it's so important that I took away from today's conversation is always being open and willing to help, and to always ask for help when you need it, and making sure that you have those moments that are important for you, important for your kids, so that way you don't feel that mommy guilt. That's what I'd say. And you can find me on Instagram at moya.business.
Love it. Thank you so much. What about you, Constance?
I say just give yourself permission to not be perfect. A lot of people get frozen at starting things because they try to be perfect, and that's how they show up in every aspect of their lives. And if you can give yourself permission to just start something or do something and not have to worry about, is everything perfect, or am I being the perfect mom, or am I being the perfect wife, and just show up as your best authentic self, I think life would be so much easier and it would be so less stressful. So that's what I say, just be the best you can be. And then communicate with your kids, you guys. I think when they understand that the humanity of who you are as their mom, and my daughter has told me and shown me, Mom, I used to think you was like superwoman until, trials and tribulations came. But them understanding and knowing your humanity, I think, is also extremely important. Where can you find me? Everywhere. I am Constance Carter. Also, Dr. Boyce and I have a B1 real estate mastery training. I want you guys to sign up to become a certified real estate investor. We about to start buying some blocks up, y'all. So go to b1realestatemastry.com. Also, Net 7 Collective for Black women all over the country. We're starting that next week. So if you're interested in being a part of the Net 7 Collective and increasing your net worth by $1 million, I got one spot available. I am Constance Carter, or bookwithconstance.com.
I love it. Thank you so much. And then Dr. Alicia.
Yeah, I think we touched on a lot of different things related to motherhood and the workplace. And what I want to leave everybody with today, I think, is all the husbands out there, all the fathers out there, all the partners, and especially the moms. I think if you're listening to this, I think there are a lot of pressures on all of us from all different directions. And it is normal to feel like you're letting things drop in one area. But I think it's important for you to learn that you are worthy of the things that you are getting. You are enough for the people in your life. I think that you deserve the love and support that you need to be successful. And I think building your support structures, you got to keep these things in mind, knowing that you are going to need them. And of course, as always, then give yourself grace. If you are interested in working with me, you can reach me at coachingwithdralicia.com. If you want to follow me on social media, the best route to do that is on Instagram at Coaching with Dr. Alicia.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I just want to thank you, as always, for being here, Queens, and also those of you in our audience. We want to thank you for being here. If you are interested in joining us or being a guest or being a queen, you can email info. Thank you whoever put that up there. info@realvirtual.net. Real has 2 E's. So info@reelvirtual.net. If you would like to be a queen, or you'd like to be a guest, if you'd like to participate, that's how you do it. If you would like to make sure that you don't miss a single episode or a single podcast or a single live stream, you can text the word Queens, QUEENS, to the number 87948. That way you can be notified when we go live, which is every Monday through Friday at 1:00 p.m. Eastern. You can also find us on Spotify. You would just do a search for the words Fly Nubian Money, and you can find us there. And or go to flynubianmoney.com if you're looking for free tools and resources around building wealth. Today we talked about how to handle work and family life without chasing the balance of myth. What we have basically figured out is it doesn't exist. Balance is a myth. And if it were real, you wouldn't want it. Nobody wants to spend 50% at work and spend 50% with their life. You don't want that. So find harmony, be present for your family, for your kids, for your mans and thems, but for yourself as well. There should be harmony in that. Be ambitious, go after your goals, be successful, build your legacy, but also love yourself, make time for yourself, and be present for your family. There's no way to do that equally. So do the best that you can, be present, and show up in the best way that you possibly can. I am Dr. Lynn Javette. I'm a business coach. I'm a monetization strategist. I help service-based entrepreneurs who package and sell their expertise to brand their brilliance and use their skills to make dollar bills. And so if you're an entrepreneur who's just starting or who has been in business and you're not making the money that you want to make or you want to triple your revenue, holla at your girl. And you see my information right there. I am Dr. Lynn Javette. This is Fly Nubian Money. We thank you so much for being here. As always, go out today, be blessed, stay Black, and be one. We'll catch you guys tomorrow. Bye.